So someone made a video on Instagram and I made a response to it. And they were asking why is it that we're suddenly allowed to talk about the Epstein files, allowed to talk about the scam that happened in 2020 of COVID, allowed to talk about how Israel is controlling the government, allowed to talk about all of these things without being banned or removed from social media. And I have a few theories. One, I am definitely being shadow banned when I talk about fatal insomnia and the medical system. That definitely, they don't like it when I talk about that. So, specific information that disagrees with the medical system is definitely being shadow banned. But why is it that this information is not being banned completely? Why are we allowed to talk about it? I think the first obvious explanation is they already tried during COVID. They already tried to completely shut down discussion on this stuff. And it didn't work. People just went to Rumble, they went to other places, they just went wherever this information was available, and these companies lost money. So these companies are profit driven organizations, and they lose money when people lose faith in them. So they need to allow people to talk about this stuff enough that people still have faith in these companies. Otherwise, people would go elsewhere. If people realized how much Google was being filtered, people would not use Google anymore. So Google has to play this game between censoring itself and they don't have to censor themselves, but they want to because it gives them power and they use that power to manipulate things. I mean, I think it's something like 75% of elections, the outcome is determined by Google. It's quite crazy. So Google likes the control they have. But if people realized how much Google was controlling them, they would stop using Google. Stop using Google. I still use Google. I'm bad, but like I need to use Brave browser and stuff more because it is manipulative. So I think there's one level at which financially they can't get away with completely banning this stuff because then, or completely banning the truth, let's say, banning people from trying to find the truth completely. They can make it harder to, and they definitely throttle content. They admit that they throttle content, but they can't ban it because if people knew it was being banned, they would go elsewhere due to the Streisand effect. Like Barbara Streisand's house was on the internet. She wanted to get taken down because like 18 people saw a photo of her house, and then like millions of people saw a photo of her house because she tried to get taken down. So you make things more popular by trying to get rid of them. Another one I think is because they've realized they can't get rid of it, they're simply mapping problematic people. And this is something I talk about in another video. You have a consumer risk profile that Google has. They sell it to banks and stuff. They sell it to people. It can be used for anything in terms of if you get loans, if you get approved for jobs, like crazy stuff too. So I think that they're taking a more long-term approach of simply restricting access, basically saying, okay, we're going to identify people who are talking about this stuff and we're going to make it harder for them to live their lives. I think another element of it is they're definitely pushing a lot of Nazi content, which is really weird. So I think they're like, okay, we can't get rid of people looking for the truth, so we're going to try to make the truth as offensive, disgusting, and racist as possible and encourage people to do violent things. So, because there's a lot more like my stuff, which is really moderate, gets shadow banned. But like, if I was a racist Nazi, for instance, who was like crapping on immigrants, and just like shitting on everyone brown, then my stuff would be promoted, no doubt, because they want to encourage violence in order to say, look, see, people who believe in free speech are evil, therefore we should restrict free speech. And I think that that's a lot of what they're going for is they want to encourage people to do stupid things so that they can use that as justification to shut down free speech further. And then it's also like the Epstein files. I think one of the reasons they released the Epstein files, I don't think that was released because like we made them release it. I think they released it because they knew it was inevitable people would figure it out. So like we can release it now, or we can wait 10 years for people to figure it all out on their own. But by the time they figure it out on their own, they'll also figure out what to do about it. So if we release it now, we can use LLMs to map everyone talking about this, and then we can make it so they can't get loans, can't get jobs, all this stuff, so that those people effectively become slowly unpersoned over time. so that they can then have no opposition. Because I think that's the main thing is the information is out there, people are talking about it, so they're like, okay, we can't stop them from talking about it, so let's make them racist Nazis and map everyone talking about the Epstein files. I think that's a lot of it. Like, I think it's really, really manipulated. And I think, again, one of the reasons for releasing the Epstein files is these LLMs. Like, they're like, okay, we can now program an LLM to map everyone talking about content in the Epstein files. And these people are now the confirmed conspiracy theorists. So now you can effectively, I mean, literally, they already have consumer risk profiles that they sell to banks, wherever, based on your search history. And they know who you are from keyboard, like how you type. So even if you're at a library, they know who you are. So they want to have cameras in cars by 2030 to determine if you're intoxicated. Because, I mean, you'd have to be intoxicated to criticize the government. Then they'll shut your car down and people will show up. What was that video of that woman who was in the car crash and she was pronounced dead on the scene, but there's videos of her trying to sit up and then forcing her back down, and then, oh, she's dead. Yeah. Move quickly, people. Share the truth amongst your friends. I'd say download videos off the internet that you find to be particularly useful. I'm looking into other ways of spreading this information as much as possible. I think that this is World War III. It's information warfare, first and foremost. So, prepare yourselves.